Hi.
Hola.
Hi, hier ist Mr. Döse.
This is Michael Bradley.
Hey, I'm Memphis.
Hey.
Hola. Hello.
I'm here with soccer.com.
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 And I'm talking with my friends soccer.com.
See you soon.
Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the Adidas A16 Plus PureControl in the dark space colorway. Now inside the box, you do get a couple of extras. They include this neon yellow shoe horn to help you get the shoe on a little bit more easily. You don't have to use it, but it is recommended, and it is, like I said, a little bit easier to put them on your feet with the shoe horn. You do get an extra set of comfort insoles to go along with the perforated thinner ones already included in the shoes. Again, you don't have to use them, but it's nice that they do include an extra set. You also get a string bag, which you can see is a black perforated mesh with black strings, and then has the Adidas and Ace logos in white there on the front. And then of course, you get the shoes themselves that I have right here. This is the Dark Space Pack PureControl, the laceless model from Adidas. And in today's video, we are going to take a closer look at the colorway itself. We're going to talk tech specs, performance, take a look at the weight of the shoe, as well as talk about how they fit and feel on feet. So if you are interested in learning more, stick around and watch the entire video. If you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, you can check out the review page on my website. There'll be a little pop-up on screen, or it'll be the very first link down below in the description. And on that page, you will find Buy It Now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal $300 retail price. So if you're interested in a pair, pop up on screen, link in the description, go ahead and check it out. And with that being said, let's get right into the review. To start things off, let's take a closer look at the colorway. Now this is part of the Dark Space Pack, which at a quick glance definitely looks like more of a blackout than anything, but there are some different kind of unique elements to this colorway. That is part of the reason why it's been so popular. So the upper, as you can see, the exposed prime knit is all black across the top of the foot where laces would normally be located. The actual polyurethane covering is solid black. You have a little bit of gray at the top of the collar area of the shoe, a little neon yellow Adidas logo at the back of the heel, and then the front pull tab is also neon yellow in color. The sole plate is kind of like a black chrome. It doesn't really look chrome, it's more of just a really shiny black, but the finish on the sole plate will wear off over time. It does come with a little warning sticker that I did remove already, and then of course the studs are translucent, and you also find gray non-stop grip branding here on the medial side. The reflective element is right here in the form of the Adidas stripes on the lateral side. And you can see they're not quite black, but basically this is kind of a color changing reflective material. So what I'm gonna do is just shut the lights off really quickly here so you can get a look at it. And I'm gonna shine the flashlight from my phone on the shoes just so you can see what I'm talking about. It's not the best type of environment to show this off, but you can see that it kind of has that purple, green, blue look to it in the right type of lighting environment. So if you're in stadium lighting, for example, it's gonna have that cool kind of reflective effect as you move around. It kind of changes color, and it's a neat idea. That's kind of what the Dark Space Pack was all about, at least for the PureControl and the Pure Chaos models. But nonetheless, I think it looks pretty good. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Do you like how these look? Why or why not? And with that being said, let's move on to the tech specs so we can learn a little bit more about the overall performance. As far as performance is concerned, the PureControl is a decent shoe. It's not my personal favorite, and I've made quite a few videos explaining my thoughts and general experiences with the PureControl. There's a playtest video on my channel that really goes over what I truly think about this shoe from a personal standpoint. So if you guys want a little bit more info on just the general feel and my general opinion on the shoe, I'll leave a little pop-up on screen. Go ahead and check that out. But in this video, I'm going to try and go over kind of the basics as far as tech specs go in terms of what you're getting with the PureControl. Now, this is a $300 shoe, so it is, out of all the top-end models, at the top price point. There's quite a few models at $300 right now. And when you're considering that at $300, you can buy just about anything out there, I personally don't feel like this is the best option, but again, some people really like this laceless concept, and if you're one of those people, then listen to what I have to say prior to pulling the trigger on a pair of these. So what you're getting with the PureControl is a knitted upper. It's prime knit. It's the knitted upper on offer from Adidas, and again, it looks like a sock-like upper with no laces, which sounds really, really good, but it doesn't necessarily have that sock-like feel. Yes, you have the prime knit in terms of what you can see. There's a polyurethane covering, very similar to how pretty much every brand is doing knitted uppers at the moment. But internally, there's actually a lot of synthetic material that makes this shoe feel a lot firmer on your feet than you might expect. And there's also external kind of overlays in the form of the Adidas stripes that add a lot of extra structure to the upper too. So when you put these on your feet, if you're expecting that super soft kind of sock-like flexibility and comfort, you're going to be sadly disappointed, because this does have a much stiffer than you would expect feel, especially through the midfoot. And it doesn't necessarily offer a super soft touch on the ball either, mainly because your foot's not directly against the prime knit material. There is synthetic liners and just general structure to the upper in between your foot and the upper itself. So like I said, it's a firmer sensation overall. The touch on the ball is not thin, not thick, kind of in between, but more of a pingy sensation. It is a little bit more padded across the top of the foot, where it is pretty much just double layers of elasticated prime knit, which I'll talk about in just a second. And you do have non-stop grip dots across the entire upper as well, acting as your wet control element. But in my opinion, that's a fairly minor feature that I wouldn't really weigh too much in my decision-making process, just because it's one of those things that honestly, if I didn't tell you it was there, you probably wouldn't know it was. And then of course, you have basically the fastening system. So because there are no laces, something has to be holding your foot in place inside the shoe. So it does have this kind of mid-cut aspect to it with the prime cut collar, which is basically just an extension piece. The shoe could be cut lower. It wouldn't impact the fit in any way. This collar is, like I said, just an extension piece. It doesn't fit your ankle tightly at all, which you'll see during the on-feet portion of the video. It's just there to give it a mid-cut look. But basically, you have this top layer of elasticated prime knit right here, and then underneath that, there's a second layer of prime knit in the form of a tech fit kind of internal, I guess, enclosure for your foot. So there's a piece that basically wraps all the way across like this, and you slide your foot into it, and that is kind of your replacement for laces, if you will. Is it as effective? Not really. The shoe does have a snug fit overall, but there's no adjustability to it because of the laceless system. So when you put your foot inside, that's the way the shoes fit. There's no way to make them tighter. There's no way to make them looser. And you can't really change anything. You just have to live with how they feel. So my best advice with these, and I'll talk about this during the on-feet portion of the video as well, is that if you do order a pair of these online, you don't necessarily have the opportunity to try them on in store. If you put them on and you don't really like how they feel, you're probably better off returning them and exchanging them for something else, because the way they fit is the way they fit. You can't change anything. They're not going to change. That's the nature of a laceless system. So given that they fit you properly, they can be somewhat comfortable. They do a really good job of kind of securing your foot from kind of a side-to-side movement. It's pretty structured through the midfoot, especially with these Adidas stripes that are kind of like a plasticky material. So again, lots of firmness and stiffness there. But because of, again, the laceless system, and since this is elasticated, which it needs to be in order to be able to get your foot in and out of the shoe, you don't have anything pushing your foot into the base of the sole plate. So again, while you're running, I really found that there's not a lot of good heel lockdown, just because, again, nothing's forcing your heel into the back of the shoe. And when you make, for example, a plant to strike a ball, I found that my foot really wanted to come up and this part would stretch, and I would kind of slide around inside the shoe front and back more than I would like to, something that I really don't struggle with a shoe with laces, again, just because I can make them properly tight and fit exactly the way that I want them to, whereas with this, again, there's no adjustability and there is a lack of lockdown because of this laceless system. Have people worn this shoe and not had any issues? Absolutely. But for me personally, I'm just not crazy about how this system feels and performs in general, from a comfort standpoint at least. The heel liner is kind of a synthetic suede material. There's lots of padding back there, but it does have a very kind of high pressure sensation in that the padding is, for the most part, the majority of what's keeping your heel locked in place, versus something that's actually pushing your heel into the actual base of the sole, which, like I said, you don't get because of this laceless system. The insole that is included in the shoes, here it is, fully removable, of course, mesh liner on top, perforations throughout the front half of it, and then it's just a single layer of this black foam. Nothing too fancy, but it does get the job done. And then for the rest of the shoe, you do have this sprint frame construction. So you have an external heel counter kind of like the first sprint frame that Adidas originally introduced in 2010. They've gone back to it. It's a TPU plastic material, has some decent flexibility to it, but doesn't feel flimsy at all. And then of course you get their Ground Control 2.0 stud pattern, which is technically FGAG. Pretty much the same stud pattern we've been seeing from Adidas for years now. They are now technically calling it FGAG, so it is safe to wear on firm natural grass and artificial grass playing surfaces, although I definitely will say that this is more of a firm ground stud pattern than it is a true AG stud pattern. But nonetheless, I have used it on both surfaces. It does work well. It doesn't seem to break down, so durability is not really a concern. It doesn't feel clingy on artificial grass. I just think the studs are a little bit too tall, but that's more personal preference more than anything. But overall, traction is good. If you've worn this stud pattern from Adidas in the past, it's going to feel pretty much the same regardless of the actual stud shape itself. And you're pretty much getting the same layout from all the Adidas lines at the moment. So it gets the job done. Nothing too spectacular, but it's a decent stud pattern. If you only want to buy one pair of shoes for both firm natural grass and artificial grass, Adidas is technically the only brand at the moment making FGAG stud patterns. In terms of weight, the PureControl feels pretty solid, but definitely not heavy. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to weigh them for you today in real time using this scale. Keep in mind that this is a brand new pair in a size 9 US. Going to throw them on the scale, and you can see that they weigh in at 8 ounces exactly, the equivalent of 227 grams. So in comparison to the other $300 models on offer from Adidas, these are the heaviest, heavier than the Pure Chaos and the Pure Agility, but it's also a very different shoe in general. Not the lightest thing in the world, but like I said, not heavy on your feet by any means. And again, because of the laceless system and just the way that these fit in general, it's really difficult to compare it to anything else out there at the moment. So if you are considering these, you're likely not too concerned about the weight, but if you were, just know that it isn't a heavy shoe at all. All right, so here is a look at the PureControls on feet. And probably the hardest thing to explain with this shoe is the way that they fit and feel, because you really have to put them on yourself to really judge whether or not they fit you properly. What's unique about this laceless system is that they've added a lot of structure to the side walls of the shoe. So both the lateral and medial side from the base of the sole are very firm and really have no give to them whatsoever. When you slide your foot inside, what's expanding widthwise on the shoe is this top part that is fully elasticated. So depending on just the general shape of your foot specifically, that's what's really going to determine whether or not these feel comfortable to you. For me personally, the actual shape of the shoe feels pretty good on my feet. Again, I don't think the lockdown is the greatest. I get a lot of pressure in my heel, and it just is kind of an uncomfortable sensation, not to the point where I'm getting blisters or anything like that, but there's pressure that I just don't like the feel of. I like to put on a pair of shoes and kind of forget that I'm wearing shoes at all, and I just don't get that sensation with this particular shoe. And again, given that it does have a knitted upper, knowing what a knitted upper can feel like, this just doesn't have that same softness and level of flexibility. Will you get used to them? Yes and no. There's problems with this shoe that, like I said, exist because of the actual design. It's not really a matter of breaking them in and it's going to get better. So again, if you do plan on ordering these, put them on your feet. If you legitimately like how they feel, give them a go. If you don't like how they feel, I'd recommend exchanging them and returning them for something else. As far as width in general is concerned, it's one of those shoes that, again, not particularly wide, not particularly narrow. It's just a unique fit, and again, you kind of have to try them on to know exactly how they feel. And as far as sizing goes, I'm wearing my usual size 9 US here, and the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair of these, I would recommend going true to size. But also keep in mind, again, because of this laceless system, they have to fit really snug in order for it to work. So if you buy these a full size too big, which a lot of people do with their shoes, you're gonna have issues with lockdown, you're gonna have issues with the fit. And again, there's no adjustability. You can't tighten laces. There's nothing to adjust. So the way they fit on your feet out of the box is the way they're gonna fit. So just make sure that you do get the right size. Not a great shoe to buy if you're looking to buy a pair with some extra growing room. All right, guys, that's it for my review of the Dark Space A16 Plus PureControl from Adidas. Again, if you guys are interested in a pair of these for yourself, you can go ahead and check out the review page on my website by either clicking the little eye in the corner of the screen or clicking the first link down below in the description of this video. And on that page, you will find Buy It Now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you'll be able to pick these guys up below their normal $300 retail price. If you have any questions at all all, leave them down below in the comments and I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.